Hello, I'm Ralph Rio with ARC Advisory Group, and we're here to talk today about mobility systems. Dan Miller is the Industry Solutions Manager for Energy, Utilities, and Manufacturing with AT&T. He's highly experienced and very knowledgeable about mobility solutions. Dan, for the first question, let me ask you, can you tell us a little bit about AT&T's industrial solutions and how they play with mobility?
Absolutely. Thanks, Ralph. So AT&T obviously grew up as a large communications provider, and looking across the portfolio of advanced solutions that we're bringing to layer on top of that foundation, if you will, really it kind of goes into three different buckets. One is clearly mobility, huge opportunity for changing the way people consume information and interact with their business systems, but kind of playing on top of that is our cloud services and how we can really make it a seamless, scalable solution, and then application management to take that burden off of enterprises where it's appropriate to make sure that they don't have to worry about things that are outside their realm of control or expertise, and they're really giving it to a company that has the experience in the network to take on that ownership.
Very good. This is an important space now, very dynamic space today. A lot of people are interested in mobility solutions. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the mega trends that are going on with mobility and how it relates to the AT&T solutions?
It kind of goes into several different buckets. I'll start really kind of on the Internet of Things, which is a very generic term that we use to talk about connecting everything that could potentially be connected. And cellular, obviously, is a very easy on-ramp into that Internet of Things. And we see more and more companies looking at how do I take my technology and bake in connectivity and make that connectivity ubiquitous so it works anywhere, anytime. And so we work with companies across the industries, automotive, industrial, consumer goods, durable goods, to really go through the process of trying to determine, does it make sense for you to bake in cellular connectivity into your products, and is there a benefit to either you as an enterprise trying to make sure your products stay relevant in the marketplace, which is a huge concern for a lot of companies right now, or is it something that you can then pass on some type of advanced or next generation service to your consumers through the connectivity aspect of it, without worrying about managing that network piece of it or troubleshooting a network that you really, frankly, don't have visibility into, which is something that a lot of companies are concerned with. The next layer is something that is complementary to that. It's applications, right? Or we call them apps, because mobile apps are different than enterprise apps in that they're supposed to be simple, they're supposed to do something really well, and they're not supposed to be this big, large, cumbersome engagement. It's something that you can quickly build, deploy, and have users consume, whether those users are enterprise or consumer folks trying to do something with a connection to an application layer. And then kind of another one is the security aspect of it. You have now applications that are deploying content. Sometimes it's corporate information or corporate applications. How do you secure that information, right? These mobile devices are somewhat fractured in the operating environments they work in. There's a lot of concern that the mobile devices themselves are the next on-ramp for hackers and viruses. And how do we layer security over that so that these are protected just like your corporate PCs have been for the last 20 years? One additional thing that comes into play now is content delivery and application management. So if you deploy all these applications in your enterprise or out to your consumers, how do you make sure that they're using the current versions, that it's working appropriately, and that they have a method to download these things, not necessarily in the consumer store, but maybe in an enterprise type store, right? So you want to make sure that you give them an experience that's user-friendly, that's proactive, that tells them when it's time to update a certain application, so that they're using something that's current and relevant and has the latest bells and whistles, so they can become as productive or as useful as possible.
Wow. I've heard three big issues. One is the growth of mobility, so cellular, security, and the Internet of Things, with everything being interconnected and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit more maybe about the Internet of Things being one of the more recent things that people have become knowledgeable about? Can you talk a little bit about how that impacts the AT&T solutions?
Yeah, so AT&T is the largest provider of cellular connected devices right now. looking at different reports, between 60 and 70% of all the cellular connected devices are on AT&T's network, and it's because we make it easy for companies to really utilize the network to connect to things. Now, a lot of people would think, well, AT&T is only in the U.S., but the fact of the matter is that when we build these architectures for connecting to things, we make them global in nature. So we have global SIM capability, meaning as you build up the strategy to deploy solutions around the world, you have one-stop shop to actually provision and deploy the cellular technology anywhere you want to put products that have connectivity. The next layer is actually having a platform for that provisioning and management of the service. It's great to deploy things in cellular, but if you can't see how they're performing on the network, then you have a big hole in how you can support your technology out in the field. And the last is actually bringing in machine-to-machine platform layers so that you can build intelligence to do things like manage the performance of that equipment in the field, regardless of what protocol it talks or what type of equipment it is, maintain firmware consistency, do firmware upgrades, have the equipment actually call home for help if it encounters issues through very simple alarming and alerting in this platform that then determines what is the right response rate based on the environment that's receiving or the device that's experiencing issues, and then integrate those into your back-end enterprise systems, right? So in the future, this equipment's going to create its own work tickets. It's going to tell you what kind of equipment, parts it needs, what kind of replenishables need to be brought out to it. And so your service organization then interface to this machine-to-machine environment becomes very much more proactive. It becomes much better at addressing things first time, and it gets better at not going out on calls that aren't absolutely necessary, saving money in those service calls that don't need to happen.
Initially, this mobility and Internet of Things looks, I want to say looks simple, but as you talk about it, I could see the underlying technologies and infrastructure really requires a company who has some experience and knows what they're doing in that space. Could you talk a little bit more about the specific applications or solutions that AT&T offers or is involved with? It gives us a better understanding of how impactful the Internet of Things and mobility can be.
Yeah, so we invest a lot of time and effort just making sure the solutions we bring to the market are relevant, either through market sensing research or even guidance board type engagements. And so from the machine-to-machine provisioning and management platforms, making sure that they provide all the different capabilities that companies need to manage their own infrastructure. The next layer is obviously the machine-to-machine platform layer, where we've gone out and cultivated partnerships with some of the biggest names in the machine-to-machine platform environment to make sure that as the intelligence layer needs to become more robust and be interfaced to either mobile applications or back-end systems, that capability is very seamless. Then as you get into the mobile application space, making sure that the partners that we bring to our customers are not only relevant, but have the right sets of expertise and experience to interface to back-end systems to build very easy to use mobile applications for service organizations and consumers to be able to interface to their world of information and content. And then layering on mobile security and mobile network management services so that companies can really architect an end-to-end solution that has all the different components on it to make it touch all the different pieces of equipment, all the different user groups, and be in a secure, scalable, global fashion, and then even offer it in a cloud so that you just sign up for it, you don't have to worry about infrastructure, and you scale up and down as the market needs it.
Fascinating information about mobility, cellular networking, Internet of Things, these mega trends that are impacting all of our lives. Thank you very much, Dan, for speaking with us today.
You're welcome, Ralph.
We've been talking with Dan Miller of AT&T about mobility and the solutions that AT&T offers. Thank you for listening.